Guru Shusrushaya Bhaktya Sarvalabhapanena cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishvararathanena cha Sraddhaya Tatkathayam cha Kirtane Gunakarmanam Tatpadam Gurhasthanat Tallinge Charhanadibhi.
Okay, right, we'll have word to word. Guru
Shusrushaya. I'll read. Okay. By rendering service to the bona fide spiritual master.
By rendering service to the bona fide spiritual master.
Bhaktya. With faith and devotion.
With faith and devotion.
Sarva. All. Labdha. Of material gains. Arpanena. By offering. To the Guru. Or to Krishna. Through the spiritual master. Cha. And. Sangena. By the association. Sadhu Bhaktanam. Of devotees and saintly persons. Ishvara. Of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aradhanena. By the worship. Cha. And. Sraddhaya. With great faith. Tatkathayam. In discourses about the Lord. Cha. And. Kirtanaihi. By glorifications. Guna karmanam. Of the transcendental qualities. And activities of the Lord. Tat. His. Padamburuha. Of the lotus feet. Dhyanat. By meditation. Tat. His. Linga. Forms. Deities. Icha. Observing. Arhanadibhihi. And by worshipping.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Now the translation, and then after that the purport. The translation. One must accept the bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him. With great devotion and faith, whatever one has in one's possession should be offered to the spiritual master. In the association of saintly persons and devotees, one should worship the Lord. Hear the glories of the Lord with faith. Glorify the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord. Always meditate on the Lord's lotus feet and worship the deity of the Lord strictly according to the injunctions of the Shastra and Guru. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the previous verse, it has been said that the process which immediately increases one's love and affection for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the best of many thousands of ways to become free from the entanglement of material existence. Everyone can understand? Yes? Very well? Okay. No translation needed? You can understand? Yes? Huh? Okay.
Then we will just summarize.
What's that?
In the end, we will just try to summarize.
Okay, right. To practice Bhakti Yoga, one must first accept a bona fide spiritual master. Srila Rupa Goswami, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-274-75, advises Guru Pad Ashrayas Tasmat Krishna Dikshati Shikshanam Visvam Bena Guru Seva Sadhu Vartman Nuvartmanu Sad Dharma Prachibo Gada Twayagya Krishnaya Hetave. One's first duty is to accept a bona fide spiritual master. The student or disciple should be very inquisitive. He should be eager to know the complete truth about eternal religion, Sanatan Dharma. The words Guru Susru Saya mean that one should personally serve the spiritual master by giving him boldly comforts, helping him in bathing, dressing, sleeping, eating, and so on. This is called Guru Susru Sanam. A disciple should serve the spiritual master as a menial servant, and whatever he has in his possession should be dedicated to the spiritual master. Pranaya Artya Dija Spacha. Everyone has his life, his wealth, his intelligence, and his words, and all of them should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the via media of the spiritual master. Everything should be offered to the spiritual master as a matter of duty, but the offering should be made to the spiritual master with heart and soul, not artificially to gain material prestige. This offering is called arpana. Moreover, one should live amongst the devotees, saintly persons, to learn the adequate and proper behavior of devotional service. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that whatever is offered to the spiritual master should be offered with love and affection, not for material adoration. Similarly, it is recommended that one should associate with devotees, but there must be some discrimination. Actually, a sadhu, a saintly person, must be saintly in his behavior. Sadhava, sadharcha. Unless one unless one adheres to the standard behavior, one's position as a sadhu, a saintly person, is not complete. Therefore, a Vaishnava, a sadhu, must completely adhere to the standard of behavior. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur says that a Vaishnava, a person initiated into the Vaishnava movement, should be offered the respect befitting a Vaishnava, which means that he should be offered service and praise. However, one should not associate with him if he is not a fit person with whom to associate. This is a very nice verse, helping us to understand the relationship with the spiritual master. So, Prabhuji, did you want to summarize a little bit the purport for everyone in the language?
Krishna ഏഴാം സ്കന്ധം ഏഴാമത്തെ അധ്യായം 30-31 ശ്ലോകങ്ങളാണ് മതാജി വായിച്ചത്. നമുക്കറിയാം 7-ാമത്തെ സ്കന്ധം 7-ാമത്തെ അധ്യായം. ഏഴാമത്തെ അധ്യായത്തിൽ പ്രഹ്ലാദ് മഹാരാജ് തൻ്റെ കൂട്ടുകാർക്ക് ഉപദേശങ്ങൾ കൊടുക്കുന്ന സന്ദർഭത്തിലാണ്. അപ്പം ഇതിൽ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത് വൺ മസ്റ്റ് അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ദ ബോണഫൈഡ് സ്പിരിച്വൽ മാസ്റ്റർ. നമുക്കറിയാം ഒരു സദ്ഗുരുവിനെ സ്വീകരിക്കുക. റെൻഡർ സർവീസ് അൺ ടു ഹിം വിത്ത് ഗ്രേറ്റ് ഡിവോഷൻ ആൻഡ് ഫെയ്ത്ത്. വളരെ ഭക്തിയോടുകൂടിയും വിശ്വാസത്തോടുകൂടിയും ആ ഗുരുവിനെ സേവിക്കുക. വാട്ട് എവർ വൺ ഹാസ് ഇൻ ഹിസ് പൊസഷൻ ഷുഡ് ബി ഓഫർഡ് ടു ദ സ്പിരിച്വൽ മാസ്റ്റർ. നമ്മുടെ കയ്യിൽ എന്താണോ ഉള്ളത് അതിൻ്റെ എല്ലാം തന്നെ ഗുരുവിൻ്റെ സേവയ്ക്കായിട്ട് ഉപയോഗിക്കുക. ആൻഡ് ഇൻ അസോസിയേഷൻ ഓഫ് സെയിൻറ്റ്ലി പേഴ്സൺസ് ആൻഡ് ഡിവോട്ടീസ് വൺ ഷുഡ് വർഷിപ്പ് ദ ലോർഡ്. ഭക്തന്മാരുടെ സഹവാസത്തിൽ നിന്നുകൊണ്ട് ഭഗവാനെ സേവ ചെയ്യുക, ഭജിക്കുക. ഹിയർ ദ ഗ്ലോറീസ് ഓഫ് ദ ലോർഡ് വിത്ത് ഫെയ്ത്ത്. വിശ്വാസത്തോടുകൂടി ഭഗവാന്റെ മഹിമകളെക്കുറിച്ച് കേൾക്കുക. ഗ്ലോറിഫൈ ദ ട്രാൻസെൻഡൻ്റൽ ക്വാളിറ്റീസ് ആൻഡ് ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് ഓഫ് ദ ലോർഡ്. ഭഗവാന്റെ അതീന്ദ്രിയമായ ഗുണങ്ങളെയും ലീലകളെയും കീർത്തിക്കുക. ഓൾവേസ് മെഡിറ്റേറ്റ് ഓൺ ലോർഡ്സ് ലോട്ടസ് ഫീറ്റ്. ഭഗവാന്റെ തൃപ്പാദങ്ങളെ സദാ ധ്യാനിക്കുക. വർഷിപ്പ് ദ ഡെയിറ്റി ഓഫ് ദ ലോർഡ് സ്ട്രിക്ട്ലി അക്കോർഡിംഗ് ടു ദ ഇൻജങ്ഷൻസ് ഓഫ് ശാസ്ത്ര ആൻഡ് ഗുരു. അപ്പം ഭഗവാന്റെ മൂർത്തി രൂപത്തെ ശാസ്ത്രം പറയുന്നത് പോലെയും ഗുരു പറയുന്നത് പോലെയും അനുസരിച്ച് ഈ മൂർത്തി പൂജ ചെയ്യുക. ഇതാണ് പ്രഹ്ലാദ് മഹാരാജ് ഇതിൽ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പം ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ട് പ്രഭാത് പർപ്പോർട്ടിൽ പറയുന്നു. ഒന്ന്, ഇവിടെ ധർമ്മത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞു. ധർമ്മം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ധർമ്മം തു സാക്ഷാത് ഭഗവത് പ്രണീതം, ആദ്യത്തെ പാരഗ്രാഫിൽ വന്നു. ഭഗവാൻ തന്നെ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നതാണ് ധർമ്മം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഇനി അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ ശ്ലോകത്തിൽ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഭാഗവതോദിതഃ, അതായത് ഭഗവാനിൽ നിന്ന് തന്നെ വന്നിരിക്കുന്നതാണ്. എല്ലാ നിർദ്ദേശങ്ങളും വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത് എവിടെ നിന്നാണ്? ഭഗവാനിൽ നിന്നാണ് വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പം അതനുസരിച്ചിട്ട് ഭഗവാന്റെ നിർദ്ദേശം അനുസരിച്ചിട്ട് ചെയ്യണം. അതാണ് ഭക്തിയോഗ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഭക്തിയോഗ എങ്ങനെയാണ് പ്രാക്ടീസ് ചെയ്യുന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്? രൂപഗോസ്വാമിയുടെ ഭക്തി രസാമൃത സിന്ധുവിൽ മാതാജി വായിച്ചു. ഗുരു പാദാശ്രയ തസ്മാത് കൃഷ്ണദീക്ഷാദി ശിക്ഷണം വിശ്രംഭേണ ഗുരോ സേവ സാധു വർത്തമാനുവർത്തനം സദ്ധർമ്മ പ്രച്ഛാഭോഗാദി ത്യാഗകൃഷ്ണസ്യ ഹേതവേ. അപ്പം ആദ്യം തന്നെ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ആദ്യത്തെ സ്റ്റെപ്പ് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു ഗുരുവിനെ സ്വീകരിക്കുക. എന്നിട്ട് വളരെയധികം ഉത്സാഹത്തോടെ അറിയാനുള്ള ആഗ്രഹം ഒരു ശിഷ്യനെ എപ്പോഴും കാണണം. അതാണ് ഈ എന്തിനെ പറ്റിയാണ് അറിയേണ്ടത്? സനാതന ധർമ്മത്തെപ്പറ്റി. ഓക്കെ. എന്നിട്ട് ഇവിടെ വളരെ പ്രധാനം ഗുരു ശുശ്രൂഷ എന്ന വാക്ക്. ഗുരു ശുശ്രൂഷ എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരാൾ തൻ്റെ ഗുരുവിനെ പേഴ്സണലി സെർവ് ചെയ്യണം. ഓക്കെ. അപ്പം അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഗുരുവിൻ്റെ ശരീരത്തെ സെർവ് ചെയ്യണം എന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. കുളിക്കാനായിട്ട്, ഡ്രസ്സ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട്, ഉറങ്ങുന്ന സമയത്ത്, അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഭക്ഷണ സമയത്ത് എല്ലാം തന്നെ ശുശ്രൂഷിക്കുന്നതിനാണ് ഗുരു ശുശ്രൂഷണം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഒരു ഗുരുവിൻ്റെ ഒരു താഴ്ന്ന സേവകനായിട്ട് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്നു. എന്നിട്ട് തൻ്റെ കയ്യിലുള്ള എന്താണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിലും അത് മുഴുവനും, തൻ്റെ സമ്പാദ്യം എന്താണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിലും അത് ഗുരുവിൻ്റെ സേവയ്ക്കായിട്ട് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നു. പ്രാണൈർ അർത്ഥൈർ ധിയ വാച എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പ്രാണൻ തൻ്റെ ജീവൻ, അർത്ഥയർ എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ധനം, ധിയ തൻ്റെ ബുദ്ധി, വാച എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ വാക്കുകൾ. ഓക്കെ, ഇതെല്ലാം തന്നെ ഈ 4 ഗുരുവിൻ്റെ സേവയ്ക്കായിട്ട് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നു. എവറിത്തിങ് ഷുഡ് ബി ഓഫേർഡ് ടു ദ സ്പിരിച്വൽ മാസ്റ്റർ ആസ് എ മാറ്റർ ഓഫ് ഡ്യൂട്ടി, ബട്ട് നോട്ട് but the offering should be made to the spiritual master with heart and soul, not artificially to gain material prestige. എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഗുരുവിനെ ഒരു തൻ്റെ കർത്തവ്യം എന്ന രീതിയിൽ സേവിക്കുക, അല്ലാതെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഞാൻ ഗുരുവിനെ സേവിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് പേരെടുക്കാനായിട്ട് ഒന്നും തന്നെ ചെയ്യേണ്ട കാര്യമല്ല. അതിനാണ് അർപ്പണ മനോഭാവം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. പിന്നെ ഗുരുവിനെ സ്വീകരിച്ചു, അതിനുശേഷം എന്താണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? വാസം, നമ്മുടെ താമസിക്കുന്ന എവിടെയാണ്? ഭക്തന്മാരുടെ ദിവ്യാത്മാക്കളുടെ കൂടെ ആയിരിക്കണം. എന്തിനാണിത്? നമ്മുടെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഒരു ഭക്തന്മാരുടെ സംഘത്തിൽ എങ്ങനെയാണ് പെരുമാറേണ്ടത് എന്നറിയാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഇവിടെ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നു. To learn the etiquette and proper behavior of devotional service. നമ്മൾ ഭക്തിയുടെ സേവനം ചെയ്യുന്നതിനെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് നമ്മുടെ പൂർവികന്മാർ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള ആ വഴിയിൽ കൂടി അവർ അതെങ്ങനെയാണ് അറിയുന്നത്? അത് ഭക്തന്മാരുടെ എന്നാണ് നമുക്കറിയാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്. അപ്പം associated devotees but must some discrimination. അവിടെ വെച്ചിട്ട് പ്രഭുപാദ് പറയുന്നു ഭക്തന്മാരുടെ കൂടെ വേണം എന്ന് പറയുന്നു. പക്ഷേ ഭക്തന്മാരാരാണ് എന്നുള്ളത് നമ്മൾ അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കണം. അത് പ്രഭുപാദ് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. സാധു എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആരാണ്? സാധു എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഉത്തമമായിട്ടുള്ള സ്വഭാവം, സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് ഓഫ് ബിഹേവിയർ, ഹൈ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് ഓഫ് ബിഹേവിയർ ഉള്ള ആളായിരിക്കണം. പിന്നെ ഒരു വൈഷ്ണവനായിട്ട് ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആളായിരിക്കണം. പിന്നെ അയാളുടെ സ്വഭാവം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു വൈഷ്ണവന് യോജിച്ചതായിരിക്കണം. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ആൾക്കാരുടെ കൂടെ ആയിരിക്കണം നമ്മൾ വസിക്കേണ്ടത്. പിന്നെ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരാളെയാണ് നമ്മൾ നമുക്ക് സേവ ചെയ്യാനോ അല്ലെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അയാളുടെ സ്തുതി ചെയ്യാനോ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. അല്ലാതെ വെറുതെ അത് അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ആളുമായിട്ട് ചെയ്യാം. ഒരാളുമായിട്ട് സംഘം പാടില്ല, അയാൾക്ക് യോഗ്യത ഇല്ല എന്നുണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അയാളുമായിട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല. അതാണ് ലാസ്റ്റ് സെന്റൻസ്. ഓക്കെ മാതാജി. ഹരേ കൃഷ്ണ. I tried to do with the best.
Well.
Okay.
Everyone understood a bit? Yeah. So we'll just read the translation again. One must accept the bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him with great devotion and faith. Whatever one has in one's possession should be offered to the spiritual master. In the association of saintly persons and devotees, one should worship the Lord. Hear the glories of the Lord with faith, glorify the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord, always meditate on the Lord's lotus feet, and worship the deity of the Lord, strictly according to the injunction of the Shastra and the Guru. Purport, this verse is a very nice verse because it's leading us up to put them up there. I'm going to read them again. Helping us understand how important the Guru is, because without the Guru, then we wouldn't know anything. He's our via media to Krishna, because we are asking questions even when we're young, before we come in contact with the devotees. Due to being not happy in this material world, we start asking questions. And we might know there's God, and we don't know his form or what he looks like. We just have an idea. And actually, when I was very young, maybe 12 years old, we used to have a Sunday school, right? And I used to go there. And I was always inquisitive. I knew there was God. I used to talk to him. But one day I went to the Sunday school and I asked the Sunday school teacher, I said, what does God look like? He's God, he's our father. They will say he's a father, he's so special. And, we can have a relationship with him, but if we don't know what he looks like, right? And so he turned around to me and he said, you don't ask questions like that. You don't ask questions like that. And I thought to myself, if there's a question, there must be an answer. So on that day, I never went back to the church. Well, plans are not good for me. So I never went back to the church. I never went back to the Sunday school because I thought, if I cannot get an answer to my question about what God looks like, why am I here? Right? And so Prabhupada's telling us that we can find out all the answers. And later on, when I came in contact with the devotees, I was so overwhelmed with all the information that they had about what God looked like, and his name was Krishna, and what kind of lifestyle I should lead, and what the meditation, which all these things, they gave us a whole structure, right? And so when I took up that straight away, almost, I took up that process, then I became very happy. Because before that, I'm trying to find answers, but I couldn't get the answers. And I went through a lot of dilemma, even when there is no God, because no one can tell me anything about him. But then, due to being in the material world, the suffering comes, and then again, oh God, please help me. Tell me what I should do. And then I've heard many times different devotees tell me this myself, that within 3 days, I met the devotees. So I was praying sincerely with tears in my eyes, please God, will you show me what I should do, where I should go? And he's in your heart, right? So God, what people call him, and we call him Krishna, and he has many other names too as well. He's just waiting for that moment. He's just waiting for that moment, right? Before we had kind of like a little reciprocation with God. We were talking to him, but it was like a little friendship, but we never got to the point to really ask him, God, please help me. This world, I realize, is not a place to be, right? And so from that moment on, I became happy. And the devotees, even I met some devotees last year at the Bhaktivedanta, excuse me, this happens. You go blank. I went to England, and what's the name of Mana, Bhaktivedanta Mana. How I forget that, I don't know. I met my temple president and his wife, and I said to them, I just want to thank you for looking after me in the very beginning of Krishna consciousness. They said, don't worry, you were easy. You were so enthusiastic, because I found the goal of life, what I've been searching for my whole life. Now, that all came from the spiritual master, from Srila Prabhupada. And so we owe Srila Prabhupada our life. He said, we cannot know Krishna, but through the spiritual master, we can know Krishna. And Prabhupada, he was just so wonderful, wasn't he? Even you younger devotees, you read about him, you see him, you hear his talks. This person, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he was such a wonderful person. And but from him, he's given us all of this, all these beautiful books. He would go to sleep like at 10 o'clock in the night and wake up again at 12 o'clock and start translating these books. And then after some hours, then he'd have a bath and start chanting. But first, this was the first project for him because he wanted to finish this before he left this world. So we can't thank Srila Prabhupada enough. There's know how we can thank him? By being serious devotees. Because it says there that when one becomes more serious in spiritual life, and that's so important, and then he wants to do things for the spiritual master, take care of him, look after him. Of course, for the ladies, it's a little hard, but you men, gentlemen, you have that opportunity. That the spiritual master, you can do things for him. They used to massage Prabhupada. On occasion, the ladies got an opportunity to cook for Srila Prabhupada. A lot more in the very, very beginning. Because after a while became so many devotees, then Prabhupada had to kind of restrict a little bit the amount of personal interaction he had with the devotees. And I came at that time when it was restricted. But anyway, I still felt like that the little things that Prabhupada did or said for me and all of us, I felt that I loved him. I knew whatever I was doing, whichever he asked us to do, I felt like that I was close to him. Actually, I was probably asked that question about how can the next generation and the generation after Prabhupada left, how can we get to know Srila Prabhupada? Well, when I joined the temple, the devotees, they used to talk about Prabhupada all the time, all day. Prabhupada this, Prabhupada that, right? You know, Prabhupada did this, Prabhupada did that. And where did they learn that? Dhananjaya and his wife, they had gone to London for some months, and one other devotee was in charge. But they had learnt everything from him because he was personally associating with Srila Prabhupada in the very beginning, in the 60s, right? Not the beginning of the 60s, 69, like that. And he told so many stories. Everyone loved him before we even went to London to meet him, because we were in Amsterdam. And that's how powerful it is, just by hearing the stories about Prabhupada. And we hadn't seen him either. We hadn't seen him. But we loved him even before we went to see him, because the devotees told such wonderful stories about Prabhupada and how personally it was. And so this is how your younger generation, you can learn to love Prabhupada like we did. And now you have so many outlets. You have the, what do they call it? The MP3s, the DVDs, Prabhupada's lectures. Actually, even more access you have to Prabhupada than what we actually did, because we didn't have the recordings so much. They weren't kind of that every country in the world had access to these facilities. In America more so, right? And so you have more facility than we have. When the devotees ask me, how can we are so unfortunate we didn't get to see Srila Prabhupada, I said, no, you're not unfortunate because you have all this facility and you have so much access to Srila Prabhupada, right? You know, there's so many things. You can see him. You've got him on the video. He's talking to you, right? He's laughing. He's telling stories about his childhood, you know, and he's always so jolly. So you have that access. You just have to take advantage of that, and you get to know him and how loving and caring he was, and also try to imbibe his qualities. You know, I often think of things in my own life. Oh, Srila Prabhupada, he did this, so I should do that. And then I've only heard in stories, you know, that story about the fans. That my godbrother left the fan on in the room, and Srila Prabhupada became very angry. So most of my life in Krishna consciousness, and even in my daughter's house when I stay, I'm always walking around and turning off the lights. And she walks past, oh yes, Mum, looking after the electricity that we don't waste it. And so, yeah, very conscious of that. And that's all just because Srila Prabhupada, he got upset about the devotee leaving the fan on. And the devotees, when I was in Bangalore just now, they wanted, it had been raining outside. It was my last day of my cloth that I had to wear. And I said, I have to get my clothes dry. So they brought them all down because it had rained in the night. And they put it under the fan. But then it was time for Aarti. And they said, oh, we'll leave the fan on. I said, no, you can't do that. Srila Prabhupada didn't like that. So, see? And so, like he's saying there, you have to follow the instructions of the Guru and take it very, very seriously. And that's all he said. At my initiation, he said to me, your name is Surabhi Devi Dasi, the name of the transcendental cow, the giver of abundance of milk. I was a young girl. I had to come, the room wasn't as big as this, but it was full of devotees and other people, and they were all staring at you as you were walking down to Srila Prabhupada. And by the time I got there, I was very nervous. I was already nervous that I knew that I have to walk up there and tell the regulated principles. You know, it was a kind of like a scary thing, you know. But Prabhupada immediately picked up on it. After he gave me my name, he said, don't be afraid. He said, if you follow this process, you'll go back home, back to Godhead at the end of this life. He didn't tell me if you stand on your head, then, right, or do some yoga practices. No, he said, if you follow this process, and you know, this process is not difficult. The mind sometimes telling you it's difficult, but it's actually not difficult. Just follow the process, follow those principles. When you get initiation, you have to say to the spiritual master what the principles are. So, right? Does anyone find it difficult to follow this process? Do you find it difficult? No? You? You find it difficult to follow this process? A little bit. Yeah. Well, what he said to us, some devotees, they said to Prabhupada, when I'm chanting, I see lights. And Prabhupada said, keep chanting, it'll go away. So keep following the principles, keep chanting, keep following the process, and the difficulties will go away. Because the difficulties come because the mind is always telling you things all the time, and you've got to pull it up and go, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And it puts you back on the track. Right? And so Srila Prabhupada's given us everything, you know. And he said, follow the process, associate with the devotees, right? Especially the devotees who are, following nicely, because you want to get inspired, and it helps you. And he says there, associate with the devotees, but you have to see that that devotee is strictly following. Prabhupada said that you can't say to the child, or you can't say, don't smoke cigarettes, and then the child goes around the corner and he sees the father and mother smoking cigarettes. So you think the child will take that seriously? No. He will, later on in his life, unless he understands, he will also start to smoke cigarettes. If he's intelligent, he will try it for a little bit and realize, for cigarettes, they sometimes even give you chest pains. And if one is intelligent, he will understand that I should not do this, right? But if the parents give such a good example and don't smoke cigarettes and don't drink alcohol and are not abusive, right? You find in this day and age, there's lots of families like that. They're addicted to gambling. We were talking about that. And they're addicted to alcohol. Some men are addicted to women, and some women are addicted to men. So unless you teach by example. Prabhupada always told us, teach by example. And see, Srila Prabhupada, he was a perfect example. We never ever had to worry about Srila Prabhupada. We never had to think that Prabhupada was going to do something like that, go out and smoke a cigarette, or never. He was so perfect example and full of love. He got so much love from his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati felt immediately he met Srila Prabhupada that this person is very special. And immediately he told him, I want you to go and preach this Sanatan Dharma all over the world. He didn't say to him, and Prabhupada said that, didn't he? And the day was yesterday, the independence of India. And Prabhupada said to him, but first we have to wait for India to become independent. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, no, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is to help these fallen conditioned souls in this world to have a relationship with God, and then everything will become peaceful. But he said, independence for India, that's not. He immediately rejected it. And Srila Prabhupada became so attracted to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati because he was a very strong personality, very staunch. You remember the Brahmins, they were always chastising him because he said, you cannot be a Brahmin by birth. You have to be a Brahmin by quality, right? And the Brahmins, they didn't like that at all. One time they even wanted to kill him. And one of his disciples, he said, come quickly, Guru Maharaj. They're going to try to kill you. Because the crowd was becoming, the Brahmins, they were becoming very heavy, about the whole situation. And so he took him into the forest, and he made Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati change into his clothes, I think white, and he took Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's clothes. In that way, he saved him from getting killed. And that devotee, he was a fast runner. And so he was able to run off and they never caught him. And this is what Prabhupada says about serving the spiritual master. You do anything for the spiritual master. I know we would have all, if anyone tried to hurt Srila Prabhupada, we would have laid down our lives. Like that. And even devotees, when the dacoits came to Mayapur, they went out and had to fight with the dacoits. They laid down their lives just to protect Sridham Mayapur and the deities and the devotees. And one of my godbrothers, he got his leg shot, Bhakti Raghava Maharaj, and he said it was a bad leg, and it got shot and amputated. He said it was a bad leg anyway. It used to give him so much trouble. So he sent it as a blessing that Krishna took it away, and I think it's not the full leg, is it? That he has to walk with crutches and like that. So the devotees will lay their life down for the spiritual master. So that's what happened when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was here. And so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he loved Srila Prabhupada because he could see this person is very intelligent. That's why he knew that he was a learned student, and that he could translate the books from the Vedas into English. It took Prabhupada some time because he was married, he had children, and he kept having it in the back of his mind that I have to do this. And then Bhaktisiddhanta, every now and again, he will come to him in a dream and he will say, you have to do this. In the end, he said, you have to give up this family life, because actually Prabhupada's wife she got initiated, but she wasn't a devotee in her heart. She used to drink tea. And so Prabhupada got very upset one time because he left his Bhagavad Gita there on the table, and he just translated it. Many hours to translate that book. And he came home and he said, looking for his translations that he'd done, and they were in manuscript. And he said, where is it? Where has it gone? Because he had come back other times, it was always in the same place, right? And this time not. And so he went to his son and he said, did you see that? And his son said, yes, I've seen Mummy going down with some papers and exchanging them for tea biscuits. And so Prabhupada went to her and said, did you take my translations down and give them to the tea man? Oh, I took something. And he said to her, what was her name? I think her name was Radharani, right? Yeah. No, that was his mother, Radharani. And he said to her, you have to make a very strong decision. I'm asking you. You have to think of what you want to do. He said, it is tea or me. She said, I'll take tea. And so Prabhupada went and he packed up all his things, and that day he left. And he went to Vrindavan. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was all the time coming in the dreams to tell him, you must go to the West and spread this English teachings. And he said he didn't want to go to England because some of his godbrothers had gone there already and come back. But he thought, what is the most advanced country in the world? And he chose America. And he went there. And he went through a lot of trouble for us, for all of the conditioned souls, even for the ones who haven't become devotees. Prabhupada's books are out there infiltrating, right? And he went to Vrindavan and he printed out some, like little small magazines, just like maybe 4 sides. And he'd go out from Vrindavan into Delhi and he would stay at the Chipawada temple. And every day he'd go out and try to distribute his magazines. And the people going to the tea rooms, oh, go away, we're not interested in that. We're not interested in that. And after some time, actually Prabhupada, going out in the sun, one day he collapsed. And a very strong well-wisher that knew Prabhupada, he took him back to his place in his car. And Prabhupada thought to himself, these people in India have become materialistic now. They are not interested in their spiritual connection with God. And so he was thinking, I have to do what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said. And at that time, he had already printed the 3 volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatham. And he had to, no, I don't think he had his manuscripts from the Bhagavad Gita. He had to start that again when he came to the West, right? Anyway, he used to, and the man that used to print his books, he said he used to walk all the way from the place he stayed to the printing house. Now, he didn't have to walk. He could have used an Anana to catch the bus, but he decided, I don't want to spend that money. I would walk and use that money from my printing. And so, of course, he didn't have the money for the printing. So he made the arrangement with the printer after purchasing, I don't know what they call them. What do they call the blocks of paper? Hmm? Yeah, but it has a special name. So many reels, of paper. And he had them all stacked there at the rim. Yeah, that's it. I knew it was that, but not exactly. So remembering. As you get older, the memories a little less. You've got to take the Brahmi. I think I was asking you probably about the Brahmi. I have to get some Brahmi. As soon as you start taking the Brahmi, the memory starts getting a bit better. But the problem is remembering to take the Brahmi. Don't let it get to that point. But and so Prabhupada bought the paper. They stacked it up at the printer, and he would come when he had enough money to print the books. He couldn't do it all at once. And also the printer, he would print them and he would let him pay for them as he's going. So before he went to America, he already had 3 volumes printed. And so it wasn't easy. It was difficult. And then he went back to Vrindavan again. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati came to him in dream again to remind him, you have to seriously take this. Told him to take sannyas. You take sannyas, then you must seriously go and follow my order. Anyway, he did it. He went and got a free ticket on the Scindia ship line. He had to go and beg from Srimati Marjorie to be able to do that. And she didn't want it. In the beginning, she goes, you are too old. You are too old to go on this ship. It's too cold in America. And she said, no, I'm not going to give you. But Prabhupada, he didn't take no for an answer. He kept on coming back. And I think the second time she said, okay, I'll give you the ticket, right? Thinking he'll go there in no shorter time, he will come back. But actually, it got like that in the very beginning. The Prabhupada almost went and used that ticket to go back. But then Krishna started showing him, no, you be patient. this will happen what you must achieve. And he said, loitering in the street without really somewhere to live, right? Not even really enough warm clothes. And just by chance, one young man was walking down the road and he'd seen this figure. He could see him at the distance. And he said, who is this? Who is this dressed in the robes? Prabhupada never changed that he is going to go to America and wear his clothes. There was many gurus that had gone to America, spiritual, even some of them he knew. And he said they were living with the rich uptown in New York, right? And they said to him, oh, you don't wear these clothes, you should wear pants and shirt, and because they were wearing. And Prabhupada never did it. And he said to them, oh, you have to eat with a fork and knife, and his Prabhupada just didn't do any of it. And look what success he had. And all those other people, they never built a movement like Srila Prabhupada because he took this very seriously. And if we take this very seriously too, we can achieve so much, Even Prabhupada instructed us because he knew one day he wouldn't be there, because he wanted this movement to go on. And the devotees, they kept on printing the books. Even when Prabhupada was here, they used to do these marathons. And Prabhupada he said, this gives me life when you come and tell me how many books you've distributed. The devotees got so enthusiastic, they were going out like at Christmas time, weeks or two before Christmas, they're staying out till 1 o'clock in the morning distributing these books, right? And Prabhupada said, when I hear these scores of how many books you've distributed, that gives me life. And from that, this Hare Krishna movement started. Such a humble start, right? So we owe our life, every one of us, not just Prabhupada's disciples, but everyone, for what Prabhupada did for us. Where would we have been, right? I probably would have been in the canal in Amsterdam because I was so unhappy. And I just wanted to know what it's like. And I was thinking one day I should just throw myself in the canal in Amsterdam, right? But luckily, I met the devotees very close to that time and saved me. And that's all just because Srila Prabhupada went to the West and saved us all, saved the American devotees. And then they went to England. And from England, another one went to Amsterdam. And then another one went to Germany, like that. And in America, when he was there, he was always sending the, you go to Los Angeles, you go to San Francisco. And even some, only a few months after they became devotees. So we're eternally indebted to him. So, and the best way to show that love for Srila Prabhupada is following his instructions, isn't it? I know myself, when I tell the devotees, I want you to keep your temple clean. I don't just tell them, I get in there and clean it with them. I'm not that young anymore, but those devotees, I find out through other people that they are doing. They are cleaning their temples because I told them to clean your temple. And when I hear that, my heart is so happy, like that. So in the same way, Srila Prabhupada gave us so much. And he knows he's not gone somewhere and never going to come back. He's actually watching, because Prabhupada told us, and this is a true story, the devotees asked him, Prabhupada, at the end of our lives, will you come? Will you come and be there when we're going to leave this world? He said, yes. And I'll tell you, if you ever doubted it, I'll tell you an example. One of my godbrothers, he was in a hospital in France. He had got AIDS and he was just about to pass away. And the one nurse, she came into the room just at that time. They thought he'd be gone, you know. And he sat up in the bed and he was looking over near the door and he said, Srila Prabhupada, you have come. You have come. So there is proof. And then he lied down and he passed away. And the nurse that was taking care of him, she knew he was a Hare Krishna. She didn't know who this Prabhupada is. And she met a devotee on the street, was he or she, and said, who is Prabhupada? And she told them. And they said, oh, why did you ask? And she said, well, I'm nurse in the hospital and this event happened. And I'm just wondering, who is this Prabhupada that this person was calling out to and saying, you have come? And they told them who he was. So if we ever doubted those words that Srila Prabhupada said, I will come at the time of death, I will be there. So that's proof. Right? So Prabhupada is always with us. And don't think that you, second generation, third generation, and there's been some really sincere devotees, more sincere than me, and they have been so dedicated to this movement and passed away of cancer. Don't think for a moment that Srila Prabhupada won't come and get them. Because Prabhupada, he was so indebted to all the devotees for distributing these books and opening these temples. He often spoke about it. He'd say, if it wasn't for you all, I could not have fulfilled the desire of my spiritual master. Okay? So that's why we have to always show that spiritual master by following the principles, by chanting 16 rounds, by Prabhupada specifically said, I want you to read my books. He said, you're going out on the street and you're distributing these books, but have you read them, right? You can tell some stories up, the man will take the book. But if you can go out on the street and say something to them and attract them to these books, then I'm very happy that you've read my books, you know. And so he said, every day I want you to read. In the beginning, especially in the temple, we were more told to do service, go out on the Harinam, distribute some magazine. But the time to distribute, to read the books was very, very little. And in the first few months, I never read a book. I had the books, they gave them to me, but I never had time to read because we were busy all day. And in the night, we just fall in the bed, we're so tired. I remember in the very beginning in Amsterdam, getting up every day for Mangalati, right? And I used to be so tired. And I'd get up, I can't do this for the rest of my life. You know, you're so tired. But you keep endeavoring, and somehow or other, it got better and got better and got better. You know, here I am, still 53 years later, and all of my god brothers and sisters are still here on the planet. They're still endeavoring because we just stuck with it. It is hard in the beginning. You're coming from a lifestyle where you can just do whatever you like. You can sleep as long as you like. And it's like that. People sometimes they sleep all day, isn't it? You know, go out and enjoy, and they sleep all day. You know, so we had to kind of mold ourselves into this lifestyle, following these principles. And in the beginning, it was a little hard. It was. But we did it because we stuck with it. Then we were able to continue on. And then came more and more devotees, and all you lovely devotees, because Prabhupada's saying there in this verse, association. Because if we don't have the association with each other and get encouraged from each other, you inspire us. Even the younger generation, you're always saying that we are inspiring you, but actually we get inspired by you because we see that you are very, like how the Russian devotees are very, very artistic, and they paint and make little badges made out of like one time a shell, and so we get inspired by you. We were book distributors. After some time, some of the devotees started learning to make the dolls out of the clay and how to make the mukuts for the deities. So many different qualities they had. But in the beginning, we were mainly distributing books. And then after some time, we had the temples and so many things had to be done. So then the devotees started learning these things. They didn't know them before. If they knew them before, if they were artists before, like Radharani, she was using that in Krishna's service. But in the Hare Krishna movement, a lot of us learned special qualities from being in this movement. Because also, this philosophy, it shows you that you're not the body. And then because you know you're not the body, and you're not thinking, oh, I can't do it, not thinking on the bodily concept of life that I can't do these things. No, because of our whole philosophy, we become confident. Our self-esteem becomes stronger because we're learning that we're not the body, that we're an eternal spiritual soul. And then we got confidence to do things perhaps that we never did before. Like when they were building New Vrindavan, all the work on the temple, middle ornate, you've been there. Have you been there? No. There's just so many things. They were making the deities jewelry, building the temple. And some of the devotees had never done that before. Or maybe one or two had learned some things before. But they just wanted to do this for Prabhupada. And it was called Prabhupada Palace. It's called Prabhupada Palace. And the devotees actually did it all. Yeah. Yeah, true. How are we going for time? All right. We'll leave it at that. And the next thing we're going to talk about is Julan Yatra. And so the devotees asked me to find out about Julan Yatra. Well, I know a little bit, but not as much. So I'm going to read a little bit from the what I found. So because it's rainy season now, so that's when they do the Julan Yatra, because of all the rain, and so they wanted to have a nice breeze, but the rain was always coming down. So Krishnas loved to swing on the swing, so they decided we'll make beautiful swings for Krishna and put Krishna and Radharani on there, and then a beautiful breeze will come, and that way the rain will not be so difficult to take. So here's the one. I'll read a few things that I've read. A pastime of Srimati Radharani and Krishna's, as stated, Julan Yatra, is very dear to Krishna. He likes it very much. Now, from another perspective, you will see why. From a cultural perspective in India during this period, all the daughters go to their father's house to stay there for some days and enjoy the swing festival. It's a custom celebrated even up to this day. Every year, Srimati Radharani used to go to Vaishana, to her parents' house, and have a very nice time there with her gopi friends and Krishna, whom she could freely meet, because Jatila and Kotila were not around. One time Radharani was waiting for her brother Sridham to come and take her to her father's house. She was sitting and waiting, but there was no sign of Sridham, and she became so sad. One day a person from Vashana was there. She asked the man to ask her father, why have they forgotten me? She then started to cry bitterly. The person went to Vashana and told Vrishabhanu Maharaj about the condition of his daughter. Hearing this news, Vrishabhanu Maharaj immediately sent Sridham to Vashana to get Radharani. Okay. Let's read him down. I think. This must have been. Oh. At the time of the Julan Yatra had already started, and Srimati Radharani started swinging with her Shakis, friends, during periods in the day and night, but she was not satisfied alone without Krishna there. Knowing this, Krishna sometimes came in disguise in the palace. Sometimes he dressed as a gopi, selling bangles, or beautiful garlands, or he appeared in any other form and made an appointment for them to meet each other somewhere in a very secret place in the forest. Once, Srimati Radharani was seated on the Julan and Krishna was pushing the swing very nicely. Suddenly, Krishna put so much force in the pushing the swing that Srimati Radharani became fearful and started crying out, "Oh Krishna, save me, save me, save me." That transcendental trickster, Sri Krishna, climbed on the swing and she firmly embraced him, giving him so much pleasure. Why so much pleasure? Because normally he has to do some tricks so that Radharani will embrace him. But in this instance, she embraced him out of her own will without much effort on his part. Therefore, he is very fond of the swing pastimes. So tonight we're going to start the swing. And he said, everyone loves to come and serve Krishna. And even if any other time of the year, maybe they didn't get that opportunity. But the swing festival is an opportunity to come and serve Krishna. Right? So it's actually one of the most, what do they call it? Most like festivals, smaller festivals in the year. We have many festivals, but that one, everyone loves to come and swing Krishna, right? From all over the place. You like that? You like it? You all like it? It's all, I think I get excited. Oh, the swing festival's coming, right? And after the swing festival, what comes next? Balaram's birthday. Actually, I don't know if you do it here, but in Australia, they actually swing. The last swing is on Balaram's birthday in the morning. Yeah, so everyone comes. People come from everywhere. They just love it. And you decorate the swing really nice with beautiful flowers at that time, because the jasmine comes at Radharani's birthday. So much jasmine at Radharani's birthday. But in the beginning of that time, at Balaram's birthday, it's just coming out. So the devotees are able to put all the jasmine around the, what do you call it? The stand, yes. And the swing. So yeah, it's very, very special. And the smell of those flowers is just absolutely beautiful. Yes. So I was looking up to find out what the swing festival kind of really meant. And that was the reason. During the rainy season, and the rain is coming down, and it has no breeze, right? So they made the swing to make a breeze. so that when the rain is coming all the time, it's nice for everyone. So it was nice. I looked that up today. Yeah. So, any questions? We can't go on forever. Any questions? Anyone? About anything that I talked about? Mhm. So, you promise me, all of you that think you haven't seen Prabhupada and couldn't get to know him, actually, you can even get to know him better than we did, because we didn't have so much facility because Prabhupada didn't come to Europe that much. In America, he was always going there. Even in Australia, he went every year to Australia. But most of the countries, we didn't get that close association. And so we heard stories, you know. If we couldn't see him on the DVD, which in the temples you don't have the DVD, right? But we had the stories from the other devotees about Srila Prabhupada. But you have access to so much. You can really, someone said, oh, we can't love Srila Prabhupada like you do. I said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. I said, like in the beginning. Actually, Dhananjaya, he would tell so many stories about Srila Prabhupada. We actually loved him before we met him. And that was when he was alive, right? I remember I was only in the movement 2 months when we all went to from Amsterdam to London to see Srila Prabhupada. And I remember that we loved him even before we met him. And then we met him, and he was so kind. See what he said to me? Was so kind. Always tell a story about Sanskrit. I'm not very good at Sanskrit. I'm sure you noticed that. Pronouncing them, especially when they're long ones. And I was in Paris. I think it might have been the first time we went to Paris. And at that time, in America, and maybe in England, they were doing the Sanskrit. But in Germany, we had never read the Sanskrit. Prabhu's ladies. Anyway, I went in the temple this day, and there was no segregation. There were not men on one side, women on the other in this very early time. And so I decided I'm going to go right up the front because no one's in here yet, and Prabhupada's going to come, so I'm going to sit right up the front. And so then Prabhupada started doing the class and Sanskrit and everything, and he said to the men, you read the Sanskrit. Oh, and then he said, ladies. And I went, oh my God, they're going to ask me to do it because I'm right up the front, right? Anyway, I had to do it. And I was terrible. You think I'm bad now? I was really bad then. And you know what Prabhupada did? He started helping me. Prabhupada started helping me. I was so embarrassed. I'm sure my face was bright red. And then after some time, I was saying it with him. I couldn't even hardly say it. He was saying it with me. And in the end, he said, very good. Oh my God, what a beautiful person that would say such a thing to you. I've never forgotten it my whole life. And I felt straight away, this person is really my father. He's my father. He cares for me so much in London and here. And so, yeah, he made the most embarrassing thing nice because he said, very good. Like that. Yeah. Well, that's how special Prabhupada is. So that's what I say to you all. If you want to know Prabhupada, you get those books and you read them. You get those DVDs and you watch them. You get those memories and you hear about Prabhupada from my godbrothers and sisters. I'm also in there somewhere. And listen to their stories. And then you'll learn to love Prabhupada. You won't even have to learn. You just automatically, you will want to love Prabhupada. You will love Prabhupada. And whenever problems come, just go back to that. Just pull out Prabhupada's books, his DVDs, and you'll overcome that obstacle. Right? Because, and your sadhana, following that whole morning program, Prabhupada said, rise early, before 4 a.m., attend the whole morning program, and your whole day will be auspicious. Now, I've had some difficult times, and I tell you, my sadhana was what saved me. Because even though that time was difficult, I never gave up my spiritual teachings. I never. Everything that we had to do every day, I kept it up, because nothing is as bad as to not follow your sadhana. If you follow your sadhana, all these obstacles will be small. Like Prabhupada said, it becomes like the water in the hoofs, the water in the calf's hoof, that when you're walking along the road, it might be a river, but if you practice this Krishna consciousness, only be the water in the hoof of the calf. Understand? So please be sincere and follow everything Prabhupada said give you, and your life will be perfect, and you'll go back home, back to Godhead at the end of your life. Okay? Be convinced it's real. Hare Krishna. And I'll be looking forward to do the Spring Festival with you all tonight. Isn't it? Lots of devotees will come. Lots of devotees will come. Yeah? Yeah. A lot of devotees will come. Anyway, I'll try to inspire them. This is the most wonderful festival. You must come. Rain, hail, or shine. Isn't it? No one's asking you to stay for hours and hours and hours. You just come. Even we don't stay for hours and hours. You just come, you line up, you push Krishna, and then you can go home. But you'll be ecstatic when you leave, isn't it? After pushing Krishna, you'll be very happy. Okay? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Jai Shankar.